So let's look at question number 4 in the 2025 GCE paper 2 biology. So the question there was saying figure 4 is a bar chart showing the volumes of urine collected from a person before and after drinking 1500 cubic centimeter, 1.5 cubic decimeter of water. The person's urine was collected immediately before the water was drunk, as indicated at time 0, and then at 30-minute interval for 4 hours. So this is what we have been given. In this case, if you are not able to see, you are not able to see, but on the y-axis, that is volume of urine, and that is in cubic centimeter, and here you have got the time in minutes. So this is the bar graphs that we're having there. Then the question there, so you can see in the first 0 minute, what happened. It was low, then it increased, then it started coming down, it slightly increased, then you can see what happened there. So the question there says explain why there was a high volume of urine after 60 seconds. Now of course there could be so many possibilities why there was a high volume of urine after 60 seconds. Possibly, remember, because it talks about water, regulation of water level is actually done by what we are calling as being the kidney. So we could say that the kidneys filtered the excess water, leading, so it filtered the excess water, leading to increased urine production. So because the kidney filtered excess water, that actually led to increased urine production, and that accounts for the high volume of urine after 60 minutes there. So you could have talked about that or other possibilities that are there. Let's look at the second one, that is A2. A2 there says state the point at which the volume of the water stabilized. Now from the graph there, where exactly did the volume of the water stabilize? So if you notice there, the stabilization of the water, possibly if you look at where was it stable. So if I see from time 210, between 210 and 240, because you can see that the bars stop increasing significantly from there. So you are able to see that. So I can say between 210 and 240 minutes. Yeah, the reason you can see that actually the bars stop increasing significantly, so that's the reason. So the bars stop increasing significantly, so you cannot see any change. Yeah, so between 210 and 240 minutes, it's like the volume of urine actually did stabilize. Then it says B1 says name the organ from which the urine was being excreted. Remember, the organ that carries out that is the kidney. So you just needed to write kidney there. Then what process is being demonstrated in figure 4? So remember, I talked about water. When a person drank before and after drinking water, and regulation of water is simply called as being osmoregulation. So we can call the process as being osmoregulation there. So that was just a mark, and that is what they wanted you to do. Then it says explain 2 other processes by which the water drunk would be lost from the body. So through what process could the water be lost? One, probably we can talk about maybe evaporation, since they have talked about urination. So by means of evaporation, it is possible that water could actually be lost from the body. Yeah. Any other process that we can talk about? Well, during the time of egestion, in this case, if you want, you can say defecation. So during defecation, water can also be lost from the body. Another possible outcome that you could have put up apart from that, I'll call it number 3, is breathing. So when we breathe out, normally as we breathe out, there's water vapor. Water is actually lost in that process. When you go to the toilet, you carry out defecation, water can be lost. Evaporation can also actually take place, through what we are calling as being sweating. So if you want, you can say evaporation, in this case through sweating, can take place there. So water can actually be lost either sweating, breathing, or ejection, and so many other processes that we can talk about, in the body. But mainly, you could actually highlight sweating and also, if you want, breathing. Yeah, these are the main ones that you can talk about. Defecation, of course, they will mark you. C2 says, which conditions would increase the loss of water, from the body? So we're talking about what conditions would actually increase, the loss of water from the body. So we can talk about conditions that can increase. So one, I can talk about, high temperatures. So if there are high temperatures, possibly that could actually increase the loss of water from the body. You can also talk about maybe low humidity. So when there's little, water vapor in the atmosphere, it simply means that the concentration gradient is going to be created, and that concentration gradient can actually create the loss of water from the body. So possibly these are just suggested answers. You can look for other possible answers, but what I look at are just suggested possible answers that can help you to see how the examiner was actually thinking. So that is what you really need to look at. Yeah. Right. So watch out as I try to answer question number 5 or look at question number 5 in my next discussion.